Moscow is not the real Russia. I keep seeing this comment under my videos. Many people say that you only understand Russia when you leave the big cities. And that's exactly why I decided to go on a road trip deep into Russia. From Belgorod, the journey goes through Voronezh all the way to Stalingrad. A 25-hour road trip through places that you almost never get to see in the West. But how do people really live here? What do Russian cities actually look like away from Moscow? That's exactly what I want to find out with you on this journey. This is a road trip through the real Russia, a road trip to Stalingrad. Follow me. In today's video, I'm taking you on a 25-hour road trip through the Russia that no one else shows you. Yesterday, I already drove from Moscow to Belgorod, about 8 hours. Today we're going from Belgorod to Voronezh, and tomorrow from Voronezh to Volgograd. We're exploring southern Russia, and you're coming along. So friends, the road trip starts in this Sprinter van headed to Voronezh. Yeah. We're now halfway to Voronezh, stopped in some village for 20 minutes to stretch our legs, and it's already funny to see how Soviet this small village train station is. The whole middle is packed with plants. Those chandeliers up above. Small shops, receipt. Look at this, guys. Here, and so on. And too late, I don't know why. If you see this right away, it works better. It might be completely uninteresting for you. But to me, it's like traveling back in time. Even this coffee machine somehow looks Soviet. You can get coffee here. Or, guys, if you grew up in the GDR or something, that's how I imagine it was 20 or 30 years ago. Guys, what a nightmare bus ride. Squeezed into the last row, 5 hours without internet, and that wasn't even the worst part. You couldn't even distract yourself. In Russia, the internet often goes out. Now we're in Voronezh. So there I was in Voronezh. At first glance, just another city of 1 million people in southern Russia. But that's exactly what makes it so interesting for this road trip. While Moscow is an absolute exception in many ways, here you get a much more realistic impression of what life in a Russian big city actually looks like. When you walk in, it already looks incredibly Russian. The architecture is exactly how you would imagine Russian architecture. That was kind of the discussion of the video. I'm showing you cities and places on this road trip that you might have never seen before. And yes, but maybe you've seen Voronezh like this before. At this point, shout out to Natasha, who reports here from Voronezh on YouTube. And yes, by now she has already built up a really good following. That means some of you probably already know Natasha, and probably Voronezh too. We actually wanted to film something together, but exactly at the time when I am in Russia, she is in Germany. The timing didn't work out this time. We've now arrived at the main square of Voronezh. You can see it, a huge government building, a Lenin statue that dominates the center of the square. The central part is the heart of the city and everything is on a huge scale. The square is really enormous. This style is typically Soviet. Actually, you could call this Soviet classicism. Yeah guys, these central squares were meant to represent order, power, and, well, in a way, a certain uniformity, you know? You find squares like this in almost every Russian city. They were intentionally arranged like this. Look at this sphere. Soyedimshastran countries, unite! Here you can see the requirements, guys, if you want to serve in the special operation. 25,000 euros as a one-time payment, and then you can earn up to 50,000 euros in the first year. I found it interesting to see this here at the university. And the university also has many there. Yeah, questions and signs. You can see the whole thing is pretty well paid, especially for Russian standards. Those are insane amounts, right? Look friends, they're searching here in Ganovo just like in a Soviet series. Take a look at this shop. It's really like we're in, I don't know, the 80s or something. Prosto, dai mini, horoshi pemini, u nas vahich net pemini. Harasho, look at that guy back there. He fell asleep from drinking alcohol. Mashallah. But a store that looks like this, the pelmeni has to be good too. Let's keep going. Now we've arrived at the waterfront. And here you can see a portrait of Peter the Great. By the way, Peter the Great is my favorite Tsar for various reasons. He founded St. Petersburg. The window to Europe. He established and modernized shipbuilding and the navy here in Russia, and he completely transformed the entire state. He made everything a bit more Western. And I think, even today, he's still one of the most popular rulers in Russian history. You can see it here in front of me. There you can see the ships he built here. He built up the navy in Russia, so that's what the ships looked like back then. And yes, it all started here in Voronezh. From Voronezh, my journey continued on to Volgograd, the former Stalingrad. Actually, everything seemed to be going according to plan. But because of a small mistake, it became clear this stage would be much more complicated than I thought. So guys, the next 15 hours of this road trip should have started 10 minutes ago. But I missed the train here. I'm at the tracks. I'd say I missed it by 15 seconds. Yeah, it pulled away right in front of me. A few unlucky things happened today. I would have made it, but someone delayed me for a moment. Those minutes made the difference. Now I have to take a taxi for 70 euros. To catch the connecting train on time, sitting in the car for 2 hours. And 70 euros less for being 15 seconds late. But before we leave, take another look at this train station. It looks pretty cool with all the figures. With the symbols. It's really cool. So I'm paying 65 euros. We'll crest. There's nothing else we can do. Please like and subscribe so the video goes viral and I can recoup some costs. People don't realize how expensive a content trip through Russia is. Feel free to support the channel. I reinvest everything so that I can even make videos like this in the first place. And yeah, that's how it is, guys. Hallelujah, guys, we made it. We arrived at the train station on time. We even have half an hour left. And soon it will be time. 14 hours by train. Yes, to the south, to Volgograd. Welcome to Grassy Voronogi. Yes, my next stop on the journey. Now I have to wait here somehow until my husband gets here. Looks fancy, doesn't it, guys? Can't deny that. And there are even souvenirs to buy here.
These are the ones I tasted.
Thank you. What about the attachment?
Yes.
Ah, I see. 16.
Alright guys, this will be my home for the next 14 or 15 hours. The bed is already made, that's a luxury. And so far, I have one roommate. Yeah guys, great. I'm wiped out by now, but like I said, it's 14 hours, I just want to close my eyes and sleep. I'm in a 4-person compartment, which is standard class in Russia. There's also the open sleeper car. You sleep with hundreds of people in the carriage. And now I'll show you how you sleep here in the cheapest class.
And now let's continue. Breakfast here should be, well, we'll see for ourselves there.
What a nightmare, guys. It's really cramped in here.
I have 47.
He had 47. That's his 7th place.
And then he wants to break down.
Subtitling by ZDF for Funk 2017. Yes.
It was crazy in there. I went back outside because it felt too cramped for me. People still wanted to settle in, so I didn't disturb them. It's cramped and stuffy in there. It's not nice at all. And there you just pay about half 20 instead of 40 euros. But whether it's worth it depends on your financial situation. But it wasn't so ideal. The bistro just looks like an American diner, guys. But that... I just had the vinaigrette oboknoi. And... yeah, cake with potatoes. The bistro I checked out before looks like a diner, I think. Yeah, that hasn't changed much for me. When I film there for the first time, or make movies, the kind you usually make. Now Georg is playing much louder Georgian music in front of me. At least here, for the first time today, there's actually something to eat. Salad, chicken, potatoes, doesn't look that bad, right? And that's for about 7 or 8 euros plus a drink. It's alright. Good morning, friends, from the hero city of Volgograd, as the Russians call it. And yes, let's go through Volgograd.
Thank you very much.
The main train station in such a, well, famous and beautiful city looks like this. Magnificent. That's the first impression. Here, Red Star. Look at this, guys. This is what it looks like here. But that's what I expected. Volgograd, St. Petersburg, Moscow, and Kazan. Maybe one of the most famous cities. You can see it at the train station too. Check out this wall art. Soviet citizens are everywhere. A revolution is being celebrated, the red flag. 1952. I'm actually not sure what happened in that year. Feel free to write it in the comments. But yeah, there are these wall mosaics or murals everywhere here. When you look up. Then you'll also find these, old cars in the main train station. And yes, memories of World War II. As I said, Volgograd, probably the most important city of World War II, the city that decided the battle. That's why there's also a small museum here. And on the other side, it continues with other murals. Yeah, guys, this is the main train station, here in Volgograd. With Volgograd, mentally I'm completely exhausted now. My roommate snored for 13 hours straight. I basically pulled an all-nighter. I don't know if you can tell, I can barely keep my eyes open. It's also sunny right now. Yeah, let's take a look, guys. How much does a night here at the Volgograd Hotel cost? 5-star hotel. When I'm 14 years old, what will it be like?
10,000 euros.
I decided to treat myself to it now, even though it's a lot of money, because I think it's also interesting for you to see what a 5-star hotel in Volgograd is like, which was built during the Soviet Union era. The central hotel with probably a very unique interior design. I just wanted to check it out with you. 120 euros, guys. Here in the hotel, you can see which guests have already stayed here. Here you see Steinmeier together with Lavrov. Our federal president has also stayed here. Tokyo Hotel was even here too. So this is what you get for 120 euros in Volgograd. Spacious bed, desk, and a view of what? Of the parking lot. I'll be honest, guys. In Belgorod, I stayed for 40 euros, 3 times less, with a bigger, nicer room.
And it was supposedly only 4 stars. So for me, this is not a 5-star hotel. Yes.
So, we got tricked a little there. Where's the ripoff? It's okay, it's fine, but in Belgorod it was much better.
That's true.
So my first impression is that Volgograd is a really well-maintained, clean, quiet and typically Russian city. But there isn't a soul on the streets. But the scale is really gigantic. Now, for the first time, you see what the city is named after. In the distance. Namely, hear the Volga, folks? There you go. Volgograd has over 1 million people, but it doesn't feel like it. I've spent half an hour walking through parks. No one is around, and I've been searching for a cafe in vain for half an hour without finding one. Yes, Russia is more centralized like that. Some streets are full of cafes, while the old town just has monuments and parks. You don't find any cafes there, yeah, but it's also Monday morning. Probably everyone is going to work right now instead of walking around in parks. As part of this road trip, I also want to show you the most exciting and impressive places here in Volgograd. Formerly known as Stalingrad, and right behind me is just such a place. Pavlov's house. One of the most legendary places here in Volgograd. I'll explain to you now exactly what this bullet-riddled house is all about. At first glance, Pavlov's house looks like an ordinary residential building. But during the Battle of Stalingrad, this very house became a fortress. In 1942, a small group of Soviet soldiers entrenched themselves here, and held the building against the German Wehrmacht for almost 2 months. Today, it is often claimed that more German soldiers died capturing this small house than during the capture of Paris. Whether this statement is actually true is disputed. What is certain, however, is that Pavlov's house became one of the most famous symbols of Soviet resistance and is still closely linked to the history of Stalingrad today. As interesting as the museum and the history of Stalingrad are, that's not why I came here. The real reason for this road trip was still waiting for me. When I decided to embark on this 30-hour road trip, there was a final destination that really motivated me. A destination I've wanted to see for years, a destination that's been on my bucket list for years. And now, standing in front of it, it was worth every second. Every missed train, every taxi ride, it was 100% worth it. What I'm seeing right now is simply spectacular. The camera doesn't capture it as it is in real life. We're walking toward Maj Rodina, the mother of the homeland. The largest statue in Europe. Yes, you heard that right. It is the tallest statue in Europe. At the time it was built, it was the tallest statue in the world. Twice as big as the Statue of Liberty in New York. And you really have to earn the right to see it. It's a long way up to the top of the mountain. Hundreds of steps. And yes, but honestly folks, it doesn't come across the same on camera. You have to come here yourself. Take a look at this forecourt. The soldiers. In their hands, they are carrying their wounded comrades. And the whole thing leads up to Maj Rodina, the most legendary statue in all of Russia. The icy wind blew into their faces. They kept moving forward anyway and felt a sense of security. Exactly. That the enemy is afraid and is walking straight into certain death. That's how I understand this inscription, guys. Those of you who are Russian, feel free to translate what it says here. I'm not completely sure, but that's how I interpret it. Now it's starting to show on camera. What a monster this is. Over 80 meters. I'm not sure if the sword is included. But that used to be the tallest statue in the world. Even here, the scale is bigger than anything I've seen before. When it comes to flags and eternal flames, Moscow isn't bigger. Look at that. That would be insane. Down here, our road trip is about to end right here. We're getting closer and closer. Yeah, guys. Look how big it is. Those are people, 2-meter tall people. They're not as big as the toe anymore. That's where it goes up. This was the turning point of the Second World War. This was the site of the bloodiest battle in world history. And yes, guys, this monument commemorates it. I'll stand in front of it so you can understand the scale. That's not crazy. Even when you look at the camera and try to get it all in, it still doesn't fit completely. Boom. Bam. The Battle of Stalingrad was not only the bloodiest conflict in military history, but also the clash of two madmen. Between Hitler, who told the Sixth Army, "You are not allowed to surrender, you must fight to the death," and Stalin, who forbade men and children from leaving the city. He also said, "Fight to the death." That means, yes, it was a battle of madmen, and in the end, the Sixth Army still surrendered. There was no way out anymore. And yes, the surrender was not peace, not salvation. Of the 80,000 German prisoners of war, only 5,000 returned alive in the end. That means the Germans also met a bitter end here, even after the surrender. And yes, a terrible story. And yes, this monument is a reminder of that. The fascists wanted to see the Volga. The Red Army gave them that chance. So, another little jab. I hope you enjoyed this little road trip. The glimpses into different cities in Voronezh to Volgograd. Yes. Maybe cities that aren't in the news every day. You only ever hear about Moscow. And this is the kind of Russia you don't see every day. Yeah, friends, for me, every second was worth it, like I said, to see this live. Feel free to support the channel with a subscription. I put a lot of money and time into these videos. See you again soon. Until then, bye guys.